Ito ang magandang balita na siyang dapat malaman ng taong bayan at tila usap-usapan ngayon sa mundo ng social media dahil matapos nga ang kinasang mini trial sa impeachment proceeding ng mababang kapulungan ng Kongreso, Korte Suprema tila kikilos na muli patungkol sa impeachment case ni Vice President Sara Duterte at di umano'y De Lima 2.0 na si Jinky Luistro. Tila sobrang kahihiyan ang inabot sa Kongreso matapos ang malaking pasabog ni Vice President Sara Duterte sa ikinasang mini trial ng ilang mga buwayang nasa Kongreso. Ano kaya ito? Ating alamin. Pero bago tayo magpatuloy, kung bago ka pa lang sa aking channel ay huwag mo nang kalimutang mag-like, comment at mag-subscribe para lagi kang updated sa mga susunod nating video. Tila sobrang kahihiyan umano ang inabot ng Kamara sa ikinasang mini trial o impeachment hearing laban kay Vice President Sara Duterte matapos nga itong hindi sumipot sa naturang pagdinig na siyang pinangunahan ni Jinky Luistro, kaya tila nabulilyaso umano ang mga plano nito dahil wala nga itong napala sa naturang pagdinig. Ayon pa nga sa kumpirmadong balita source online, impeachment versus VP Sara siniling na ipahinto sa Korte Suprema. Isang panibagong yugto ang umusbong sa usapin ng impeachment laban kay VP Sara matapos formal na dalhin sa Korte Suprema ang issue ng legalidad ng proseso sa Kamara. Naghain ng grupo ni Attorney Israelito Torrio ng petition for certiorari and prohibition na may kasamang kahilingan para sa temporary restraining order upang ipatigil ang nagpapatuloy na impeachment proceedings. Bagamat nilinaw ni Torrio na hindi nila opisyal na kinakatawan ang Vice Presidente, iginit niyang mahalaga itong masuri ng Korte Suprema kung naaayon pa sa konstitusyon ang ginagawang proseso ng Kamara. Sa kanilang petisyon, binigyang diin ng grupo na hindi umano dapat pinayagang umusa ang mga impeachment complaint kung kulang sa sapat na batayan mula pa lamang sa simula. Kaya naman anong masasabi nyo dito mga kababayan? At para sa buong detalye ng balita, narito't panoorin natin ang full video.
Mag-i-impeach po tayo ng Vice President na binoto ng 32 million na tao na Pilipino dahil lang sa suspetsa. Pag binasa po nyo itong mga nakalagay sa Article 5 regarding unexplained wealth, SALN violations, bank records, and financial forensics, nakalagay lahat sila based on assumptions in preliminary documentary leads, hindi po solid proof. It keeps saying that a forensic review will uncover unexplained assets, but as of now, wala naman napakita yung complaint. Wala man lang attachments na kahit ano to prove itong sinasabi na unexplained wealth. First, the complaint talks about supposed discrepancies in the SALNs, but differences in reporting do not automatically mean someone was dishonest. Hindi po ako abogado, but I'm an economist. Bago po ako naging congressman. Alam naman po natin na property values change. Assets can be bought or sold at different times. To immediately label this as pattern of concealment without clear proof of intent is unfair and speculative at best, Madam Chair. Second, kailangan daw po ng forensic financial review to reconcile declared income and assets sa SALN. Identify unexplained inflows or transfers and trace the disposition of public funds alleged to have been diverted. Hindi ba dapat po trabaho ito ng complainant na mapakita ng ebidensya sa reklamo niya para maging sufficient in substance? Third, the complaint points to large cash disbursements from confidential funds and say these correlate with certain financial movements. But yung mismong complaint admits in paragraph 237 that correlation is not conclusive. Suspicion based only on timing does not prove personal gain. So, mag-i-impeach po tayo ng Vice President na binoto ng 32 million na tao na Pilipino dahil lang sa suspetsa. Third, the mention of intermediaries, third-party accounts, corporations, or relatives is likewise made to sound suspicious. But many lawful transactions are done through representatives or business entities. These arrangements are common and legal. Dapat man lang may katibayan o pruweba na ginagamit ang mga ito para sa mga illegal na gawain. Wala naman pinakita na kahit anong dokumento sa complaint. Fourth, alam natin, Madam Chair, na ang bank secrecy is not absolute, pero hindi natin ito dapat ma-set aside based on unverified claims. Investigation should be based on real and credible evidence, not on fishing expeditions in the hope of finding something. Most importantly, ang impeachment ay isang seryosong constitutional process. Kaya dapat, it should not be based on guesses or on what someone thinks might be discovered later. The burden is on the accusers to prove actual unexplained wealth. The Vice President should not be expected to disprove mere suspicions. At the end of the day, Madam Chair, Article 5 is asking people to assume guilt based on what might be found later, not on what has clearly been proven now. Allegations and suspicions are not the same as evidence. Thank you, Madam Chair.
What we're saying na fishing expedition, no? Malamang yun na rin ang pinaparating ng ating Vice Presidente. Pangalawa, katulad ng mga issue na inilabas sa kanyang salin. Doon sa desisyon ng Supreme Court sa Duterte versus House of Representatives, malinaw na nakasaad doon na ang impeachable offense ay yung mga offense na allegedly na commit ng impeachable official within his or her term. At malinaw naman doon sa pinakita na karamihan doon sa hininging documents ay not within his or her, within the term of the Vice President.
Clarification po ng chairperson and some members of the committee na ito daw pong ginagawa nila is like, not like a mini trial, but like preliminary investigation. Ikukumpara doon sa usual na legal process na ginagawa. At ang sabi po, para po kay Representative De Lima, parang disrespectful daw po na hindi humarap si Vice President Sara Duterte para personally paalam o i-lay down yung kanyang mga rason kung bakit hindi siya nadal or haharap na dito sa pagkita. Thank you.
Alright, thank you. So, you have two questions, right? Number one, it does act to the statement that what the committee is conducting is not a trial, but is allegedly a preliminary investigation. Number two, you also want us to react to the statement of Representative De Lima to the effect that the nuance of the response at the committee hearing today is allegedly a disrespect. Let me respond to the second one before I go to the first one. We regret that that's how the good representative feel, but we also had very clearly in our letter and with good intentions, because it is our duty as lawyer to put the defense or best defense available for our client. And at this point, we really feel or we believe that the committee really has no jurisdiction to conduct any form of trial. There was no disrespect intended because in fact we had responded to the invitation that was extended to us, signed by the chairperson of the committee, and we had submitted this even before the committee hearing today. So we don't know, we don't understand how that could be a form of disrespect. Nonetheless, let me address your question on the statement that what is being done at the committee level is a preliminary investigation, and they may be referring to the comparison of the committee level proceeding as akin to a preliminary investigation. However, if you have taken note of the past statements by members of the committee, and this is not even something that we said or stated, the term mini trial did not come from the defense. The term mini trial came from members of the committee. And in fact, you only have to look probably in the internet or search them yourselves to know that there have been statements to this effect that what the committee will do is sort of a mini trial. And so, our response to that is, given that the Constitution only vests the power and authority to conduct trial in the Senate, then the House of Representatives or any of its committees cannot do that. And I think this is very clear also in the Duterte ruling, both in the 2025 and 2026 decisions of the Supreme Court, that constitutional parameters with respect to the conduct of the entire impeachment proceedings should always be complied with, especially given that it's not only a purely political proceeding, it is also a legal proceeding, and therefore must comply with the fundamental law. And what is our fundamental law? Our fundamental law is the Constitution, You don't even have to write it in any contracts or agreements or any rules. It's written in every rules, in every contract. That's how fundamental the objection of the respondent is to the committee proceedings.
Good afternoon, Attorney Joseph Federico from Manila Police. In asserting the unconstitutionality of the House jurisdiction over the impeachment complaint, what are we trying to achieve here po ba? Are we trying to stop the House hearing? Or have we made any legal move na ipagit po ito? Or it's just a mere position ng defense team?
Well, for now, that's really the position of the defense team na unconstitutional yung nangyaring proceedings, di ba? Ngayon, ang tinitingnan natin, ang sinasabi talaga natin dito to simplify things. Sa Constitution, very clear naman yung nakasulat. No? Number one, ang initiation ng impeachment proceedings that belongs to the House. That is an exclusive power of the House. We're not contesting that. No? But, pagdating sa trial, that power exclusively belongs to the Senate. Napaka-clear niyan. Kaya ang sinasabi lang namin dito is hindi naman pwede dito sa pag-initiate pa ng proceedings nagkakaroon ng tinatawag na namin na mini trial. At again, kaklaruhin ko lang, yung emphasize ko lang yung nasabi na ni Atty. Sheila, hindi po sa amin ang galing yung term na mini trial. Yan po ay galing sa mga statements no, ng either Committee on Justice or even other personalities. So hindi po sa amin ang galing yan. That's why we're contesting it. Ngayon, ano ba ang trabaho para sa amin ng Committee on Justice? At least sa aming pananaw. And again, with all due respect no, to the members of the committee and the committee itself. Ang trabaho po ay to determine, sabi nga nila, kung ito ay iakyat na sa plenaryo at iakyat na eventually sa Senado, hindi ba? So ang parati namin sinasabi, kahit sa previous interviews ko, ang gagawin lang naman is to evaluate the complaints and the evidence at hand. No? Kung ano yung mga naka-attach na ebidensya doon sa complaint. So yung pagpapatawag ng mga witnesses and all those things and asking for documents, that goes well and beyond, di ba? Yung evaluation lang kung ito ay dapat mapunta na sa plenaryo at ang sa ganun ay maiakyat na sa Senado. So sa ngayon, are we going to question this? Kasi I think that was your question talaga. Of course, that possibility is always there, hindi ba? But hindi po na kami magsasabi ng anything categorical. Ito ay dapat pag-usapan hindi lang namin, pero pati na ng aming kliyente. At titignan natin kung anong mangyayari. That's why we have been monitoring these proceedings from day one. And then we'll let you know kung meron na kaming desisyon ukol doon.
Sir, follow up na. Since you are acknowledging that the House of Representatives can initiate the impeachment trial, the impeachment proceedings or whatever, bakit dun sa process na yun, we're not attending doon sa mga invitations ng House of Representatives? And follow-up is, are we surely attending the Senate hearing once it prospers, the case prospers?
Number one, dun sa tanong niyo po, it's not just we're acknowledging, no, that's clearly stated naman in the Constitution na sila talaga ang may exclusive power to initiate impeachment proceedings. Why are we not attending? I think it was clearly stated in our letter. It's because we are objecting. There's a fundamental objection to the proceedings itself because for us this goes well and beyond what is contemplated within initiation of impeachment proceedings. As to the Senate, wala pa tayo doon, no? Pero pag dumating man doon, talaga namang kami naman ready na sagutin. Parati naman natin sinasabi, ready nating sagutin ang mga aligasyon laban sa Vice Presidente sa tamang forum. And at sa atin, pagdating sa pagkakaroon ng trial, whether mini trial or full-blown trial, that is not in the House, but that's actually in the Senate. Thank you.
Hello, sir. Kanina po naglabas ng statement si Vice President Sara Duterte at sinabi na ang gagawin na pag-inig o ang isagawa pag-inig ay isang fishing expedition. Pwede po ba natin ipaliwanag ito bakit ito nasabi ng PISA?
Well, again, I have to premise my answer with I'm no longer the spokesperson of the Vice President. So napakahirap naman na maglagay ng salita, no? Mag-interpret ng kanyang mga sinasabi. But at least based on our conversations, nakikita naman natin, yun naman talagang posisyon natin when you evaluate these impeachment complaints. The evaluation must solely remain with the complaints and the pieces of evidence attached. Di ba? Ngayon, if you will go beyond the evidence attached and start asking for documents left and right, when our first argument nga, kung matatandaan nyo, is wala man lang ultimate facts, yung complaints. No? And then yung mga naka-attach na ebidensya, wala rin naman doon na nagsasabi o nagpapatunay na may krimen na kagad na nangyari. And so if you go beyond that, that is what we're saying na fishing expedition. No? Malamang yun na rin ang pinaparating ng ating Vice Presidente. Pangalawa, katulad ng mga issue na nilabas sa kanyang salin. Doon sa desisyon ng Supreme Court sa Duterte versus House of Representatives, malinaw na nakasaad doon na ang impeachable offense ay yung mga offense na allegedly na-commit ng impeachable official within his or her term. At malinaw naman dun sa pinakita na karamihan dun sa hinihing documents ay not within his or her, within the term of the Vice President in this case. So, marahil dun nanggagaling ang ating Vice Presidente.
The respondent puts on record her objection to any requests, motions, or similar efforts aimed at obtaining or fishing for supposed evidence through processes that necessarily presuppose the existence of lawful authority and jurisdiction under the Constitution, which in this case is absent. As timely stated in the appearance of consolidated answer both made at Cotalam, the respondent does not waive any jurisdictional or other objections she has to these proceedings, nor her right to seek the appropriate legal remedies. Nonetheless, she is prepared to meet the charges against her.
Kahapon po, no, as you all know, nagpadala po kami ng sulat sa Committee on Justice, as counsels by the Vice President. At doon sa sulat na yun, inilahad natin yung aming fundamental objections, no, dito sa mga proceedings na isinasagawa ng Committee on Justice. Siguro to give you more context, hindi po ako nagbigay, and you know that, hindi po ako nagbigay ng kopya, ng sulat sa kahit anong media outfit out of due respect for the Committee on Justice. But since we noticed na I think some copies are already circulating online, we'd like also to give you proper context doon sa sulat na yon. And that's why Attorney Sheila here will read the pertinent portions of that letter para po maintindihan. Hindi lang ninyo, pati na rin ng ating mga kababayan.
Thank you, Mike. Good afternoon, everyone. We thank you for coming today, and I think this is on short notice. We appreciate everyone's work to keep the public well informed on the development of the impeachment complaints against the Vice President. That's I confirm that the defense team sent a letter addressed to Representative Luis Tro, the chairperson of the Committee on Justice. This was dated March 24, 2026. This letter was sent in response to the invitation extended to us by the committee. Just so there is context to the letter that we sent, even as we had observed from the hearing that was conducted earlier, that this letter was also tackled by the committee. We will just read the pertinent portions so that the public is also informed of the reason or the reason stated in this letter on why the respondent and the defense team did not participate in the hearing today. So under these circumstances, and considering the public statements made by the chairperson, it appears that the committee intends to conduct a trial. However, with due respect, the Constitution vests the authority and power to conduct trial solely in the Senate. And this is clear and explicit in Section 3, Paragraph 6, Article 11 of the 1987 Constitution, which, as you know, states that it is the Senate that shall have the sole power to try and decide all cases of impeachment. The Constitution is thus clear. It is only the Senate that conduct trial in all cases of impeachment. And while Section 3, Paragraph 2, Article 11 allows the committee to conduct a hearing for the purpose of submitting its report to the House of Representatives within 16 session days from referral, the same does not give the committee any power or jurisdiction to conduct any form of trial, whether mini or full-blown, much less receive and try any evidence. That impeachment rules must be compliant with the Constitution is made clear in Francisco versus House of Representatives, wherein the Supreme Court declared Section 16 and 17 of Rule 5 of the Rules of Impeachment Proceedings adopted by the 10-12 Congress unconstitutional. And in doing so, the Supreme Court reminded it is basic that all rules must not contravene the Constitution, which is the fundamental law. In light of these, while the invitation for the respondent and counsel to participate in the committee's mini-trial is well noted, we cannot, however, do so at this point on the ground that the committee and/or the House of Representatives, as well as any of its members, lack jurisdiction to conduct any form of trial or exercise any of its incidents. Absent such jurisdiction, any attempt to proceed in the nature of any form of trial or to invoke powers ancillary to it is unconstitutional. Consequently, the respondent puts on record her objection to any requests, motions, or similar efforts aimed at obtaining or fishing for supposed evidence through processes that necessarily presuppose the existence of lawful authority and jurisdiction under the Constitution, which in this case is absent. As timely stated in the appearance and consolidated answer both made ad cautelam, the respondent does not waive any jurisdictional or other objections she has to these proceedings, nor her right to seek the appropriate legal remedies. Nonetheless, she is prepared to meet the charges against her before the proper jurisdiction.
Thank you. We will now just open the floor to questions para hindi tayo maubusan ng oras.
Hello, good afternoon. Hi ma'am, hi sir. I'm Camille Samondebo from TV5. Natapos na po yung hearing ng Committee on Justice and there were several motions po na natakel sa hearing where they want to issue subpoena doon sa mga ilang dokumento, kabilang sa mga financial transactions, IPR, including yung attorney po kasama doon sa pinasubpoena. Maybe just get your reaction on that. And ano po yung magiging tugon ng defense team since ito nga may mga hearing na yung committee na mga dokumento na mapresenta o matakel doon sa committee.
Thank you. Unang-una sa lahat, I have to address yung subpoena that was issued against myself. I will wait for the subpoena. Titingnan ko kung ano yung laman ng subpoena, but definitely I'm willing to attend. No? Wala akong any intention to evade having to attend before the Committee on Justice. Although I must say, I was monitoring the hearings. In fact, that's why hindi kami nag-start until matapos yung hearings out of due respect na rin to the Committee on Justice. I was a bit surprised because I think the ground stated there was that I was the one in charge of the accomplishment reports, etc., which obviously the facts and documents would show that it was not me. No? But nonetheless, I don't see any point in not appearing, so I will definitely abide by the subpoena, subject to, of course, titingnan natin kung anong laman. Pagdating naman doon sa ibang subpoena that will be issued for the documents, I think it is our job as counsels to look first at kung ano yung scope ng subpoena and see kung naayon ba sa batas yung pag-issue ng subpoena. Attorney Sheila, is there anything you wanted to add pa?
In addition to what Mike had said, I think the portions of the letter that I had read earlier would answer that question. So right now, what is clear is that we have questions on the jurisdiction of the committee to conduct any form of trial. And if you had noticed also from the letter, we had stated that it's not only the conduct of the trial, but also the exercise of any and all ancillary incidents to it, which includes, of course, the issuance of any compulsory process. I cannot tell you yet how the defense would meet the orders given today at the committee hearings or how we would specifically respond to those. But we are making clear that we are questioning the jurisdiction of the committee to conduct this form of trial, whether it is something that they may have, or some members of the committee may have referred to as a mini trial or as a form of hearing. We have a fundamental question on the jurisdiction, and that fact has been made clear in the letter that we had sent to the chairperson of the
Kaya naman anong masasabi mo sa balitang ito? Kung mayroon kang hinaing at komento ay mag-comment ka lamang sa ibaba ng videong ito. Maraming salamat.